Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. First things first, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Let's grow this community, and yeah, let's see how it goes. Today is Chelsea versus Burnley, another home game, and Thomas Tuchel takes over once more. Looking back at the Wolves game, unfortunately, I didn't think that was a great time to actually see what he wanted to implement. It was only one practice session, and yeah, and it's just I didn't think that in one evening he could implement his football, and I don't think that in a week also it can be done. I think moving from one football philosophy, which I mean people say that Lampard had, but moving from one football philosophy to another might be difficult. It takes a bit of time, so I'm gonna be a bit more lenient with Thomas and hope that in a few more games. Unfortunately, he has Tottenham on Thursday, so that's another big one. But I hope that in a 5-6 games, maybe he's able to implement what he wants from the Chelsea team, and hopefully that works out. Before talking about Thomas, I watched a lot of tactical videos on how he works and how he worked at Borussia Dortmund or Mainz or PSG and all of these things. And I think, again, it's a very totally different situation for him going into Chelsea. I don't think he's had this number of talented players in one squad. I mean, maybe at Borussia Dortmund, but they were all a bit young. He's the one that formed Pulisic and Dembele and all those players. They weren't, star names before he got there, and he turned them into what they are today. So I think it's a difference when you come into a club where you have already established names in world football, and it's going to take, and I think again it's going to take some time for him to implement what he wants. But I hope we start to see it today against Burnley. I definitely think Burnley are gonna park the bus even more than Wolves did. It's gonna be a tough one, but this is the important part for me. I think is being able to break down these teams that defend so what's the word, compactly. If you look at Liverpool, if you look at Man City, they're able to do this. They're able to break down these teams. And I think it's important for us moving forward. I don't think it's just about beating people in the top 6 or, I would prefer going away to a top 6 side, getting a 1 point, and then, thoroughly beating one of the teams in the lower divisions. I think our approach going forward, especially now because our players are still so young, we're going to have to think tactically in every single instant. We're going to have to look at the point system and look at where we can get 1 point and where we can get 3 points and how to work that in order to make it into the top 4. Everyone is saying, oh, you're just 5 points off top 4, but the gap is getting bigger and teams above us have a game in hand. So I think it's important for us to look at it holistically and say, okay, we're going to go to we're going to play against Burnley, we're going to try and get all 3 points, but when we go against Tottenham, we're okay with getting 1 point and just not losing and keeping that momentum going. I think that's important. I hope that that's what Tuchel's doing, and yeah, let's see how that goes. Team-wise, again, it's a hard one. I think obviously he's had a week. I'm sure that even before he came to Chelsea, he already had a few names in mind. I heard that he's a big fan of Rudiger. He's a big fan of Christensen. He's a big fan of Jorginho. And I think watching how Jorginho and Kovacic played against Wolves, I think a double 6 works perfectly for both of them. And I think if you throw N'Golo Kante in there, it's also going to work perfectly. So if I were to guess a kind of lineup that I think, from everything that I've gathered from all the information, all the videos that I've watched, all the reading, because there's so much information from The Athletic to just pundits and Chelsea people like me who just make videos. So there's so much information. So from what I've gathered, I think definitely he's going to go for Mendy. I don't think he has that much faith in Kepa. I also don't think that the board was like, oh, you need to make Kepa, like the #1 goalkeeper again. I don't think so. And I think on the right, he's probably going to go with Azpilicueta. I think he will look more, because again, like against Wolves, it's almost like we were playing a back three, because Chilwell was so like he lived in the opposition's side of the field. So I definitely think he's going to go with Azpilicueta. He's probably going to go with Rudiger and his main man Thiago Silva and Ben Chilwell on the left. And then play the double six, as he calls it, with N'Golo Kante. I think he's going to bring N'Golo Kante in, and he's going to play Jorginho. And then the three in front, he's going to go with Kai Havertz in the middle. I can see from the start, he was like, Kai Havertz has to play, and he's going to play Kai Havertz in the middle. Now, the interesting part is I think he's probably going to go with Cho again on the left, and then play Ziyech on the right. And then up front, he might this time go for Timo Werner. I think he wasn't ready to kind of implement what he wanted from Timo Werner. And I think Timo and Kai are almost going to play like two strikers at times. And yeah, and finally Timo can feed off another person, because that's what he was doing so well at Leipzig, and I think that's the same thing that's going to happen here today. But again, these are all guesses. I haven't seen enough of Tuchel to understand what his game plan is or what he wants to do with the Chelsea team. I'm super excited for this match today, and I hope that we get all 3 points. I think we can, even under Frank Lampard. This would be a match that I would be hoping that we won, or guessing that we would win. So yeah, so hopefully everything goes well. Again, thank you guys for tuning in and liking and commenting and all this stuff, and I will see you after the game. Peace out.